Hi, thanks for coming. My name's Rebecca Cohen. I'm a librarian here at Summit Public Library. And we're glad to have TJ Pridell here from Reference USA. Hi. Which is a database provided by Info Group. And we would also like to know, we would like to have more of these kind of programs, so we would like to know from you what other kinds of information you're looking for. If you'd like a program on Google Analytics or on sales, just let us know, and we'll try to provide it. And the other thing is, hopefully everybody has a library card, because a library card will give you access to our databases. Everybody has access to Reference USA, because that's provided to us by the state, so all libraries in New Jersey have all the cards have access to that. But check out some of our others. We also subscribe to lynda.com, which has classes, online classes in business and technology. So,
thank you. Hi everyone, my name is TJ Freitas. I work with Reference USA. We're owned by Info Group. We're based out of Omaha, Nebraska, so it's nice to be here. You guys are privileged to be living in New Jersey. The state of New Jersey pays for Reference USA, so as long as you have a library card at any library in the state, you can get access to our resource. There's really only about 5 or 6 states that have statewide access, so it's good that you're in New Jersey because you do have the privilege of using our resource, wherever you are. So first and foremost, I just kind of want to talk about how we get access to the database before I just kind of dive into everything. Within the library, if you're accessing, you can go right to referenceusa.com. You'll get on like that. If you're outside the library, all you need to do is go to the library website first. And then you're going to see their link under their resources, under their databases, under business, and then you'll see Reference USA right here. So once you click on that, your browser will prompt you to share your location. So if you click allow and it notices that you're from a New Jersey IP address, you'll get right into the database. If you click deny, it'll put in your library card numbers. Just throw that in there and then you'll be in. So that'll bring you to this page. So before we get started, we do have breakfast in the back. So if you guys are hungry, thirsty, need some caffeine or some coffee, we do have that in the back, so please help yourself. So a little bit of background. Reference USA is owned by Info Group. We are a mass information compiler of business and consumer information. So we've got information on every business and every consumer in the United States and Canada. Primarily we help small and medium-sized business owners in doing marketing campaigns. So our information helps you do direct mail campaigns, outreach campaigns, cold call campaigns, market research, competitive analysis. There's really a lot that you can do with it. It just kind of depends on the project that you're working on and what you anticipate doing with the data. There's a lot of different unique applications that you can use in here. First thing I want to point out is our Learning Center on the top right-hand side. We do daily interactive webinars Monday through Thursday. So Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got an entrepreneurship course. We've got a job-seeking course, a search essentials course, which is just good for beginning users. Then we've got like a librarian training, which is a holistic overview. You could actually attend the librarian training even if you're not a librarian. It's still a good overview of the resource.
Did you say that's every day? What did you say what day that is, the webinar?
Monday through Thursday.
Oh, okay. 11. Okay, great. Thanks.
So if you can't attend those webinars, we do have archived videos and then training guides. And that will just kind of teach you how to build a prospect list, how to do market research, etc. So how we get our information, we primarily source through public sourcing. So a brand new business opens up for the first time, we get their Secretary of State filing, we get Better Business Bureau listings, we get SEC exchanges and filings. We've got the most boring library in the world in Info Group. It's got 4,400 phone books. So we get white pages, yellow pages, government blue pages. That serves as a starting point. We do the data entry, just names, addresses, phone numbers. Then we expand from there to public sources. We've got a team of about 500 researchers. So they'll do the online research, get on their website, see who the management directory is. They'll follow up with the public sources to ensure it's accurate. We actually call all these businesses every year too. So last year we made over 25 million calls to verify that the information was correct and accurate. There's really not a lot of data compilers in the market, so there's really only 2 companies that are doing what we do. That's us, of course, so Info Group, and then there's Dun & Bradstreet. So if you've ever used a Mergent Intellect resource, it's similar to ours. We always say, you know, if you're looking for financial information, you're going to be better served by the Dun & Bradstreet's Mergent resource. If you're looking for marketing information, come to us. All right, so we've got 10 different modules. They all serve a uniquely different purpose. The one that gets used most often is U.S. business. Then secondarily is going to be U.S. consumers and lifestyles. So that's how you're going to do your business-to-business outreach or your business-to-consumer outreach. The other modules serve different purposes as well, which you can use, and I'll kind of give a brief overview of those, but I'm going to focus on mostly these 2 modules today.
Just a question, would the U.S. new business also be included in the U.S. businesses, or is that separate?
Good question. New business are businesses open in the past 2 years. There's overlap, so all these businesses that are in new business are also in U.S. business. We just chose to isolate that module, make it a little bit easier to search for the brand new ones.
And you said this is primarily focused for small or medium-sized businesses, but the businesses that you have as listed, are they also like Fortune 500, 100 companies?
Oh yeah, that's just our user base.
Okay,
so
got
like
it.
small to medium-sized business owners is our niche.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the large companies are in there too. Public, private, doesn't matter. Highly encourage you guys to create a personal account. It's an email and password login. Benefit of doing this, you do still have to log in through the library website with your library card, but after you do that, if you log in with your email and password, you can start saving searches. So a lot of our business owners use this on a daily basis, so if you don't want to redo searches, just log in, save it, and then it'll post to the bottom of your home page, all the lists you've saved. If you have questions, obviously your reference librarians can help you out. They're well trained on all their database resources. But you can always call us directly too. So if you call that number at the bottom, that routes directly to me or one of the other 20 account managers in my department. You can email us with questions. We're always willing to kind of discuss what you're doing. So if you need some help, you know, you've got some campaign you're working on, you just don't know how to go about doing it, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, I'm just going to dive into this. If you guys have questions at any time, just shout out. We'll keep it like a casual kind of presentation here, so don't feel like you're interrupting. Just let me know what's on your mind. I want to make sure you guys learn something. So, one of the first presentations I ever gave was out in a library in Massachusetts. I won't name drop any libraries, but I actually put a librarian straight to sleep. So a whole puddle of drool and everything. So that was right when I started. I took like a 3-week training course, and they drilled me full of information. I memorized SIC codes, and I had the most boring presentation I think I ever gave. But so coffee is in the back. Point of the story: get caffeinated. We are here to talk about data. All right, so we open U.S. Business, and you'll see 2 primary search functions: Quick Search and Advanced Search. So if you use Quick Search, that means you already know what business you want to research, so you're just looking up an individual business. Advanced Search is how you're going to build a targeted prospect list, so a list of businesses most likely to buy your products and services. So just as a general example, I'll use Conagra Brands out of Chicago. The information you're going to see is the name of the company, who the CEO or owner is, contact info. On the right-hand side, we'll see that corporate tree icon and then that down arrow. So the down arrow represents corporate linkage. So that means they're the corporate site. They own entities underneath them. Up arrow states vice versa. They're a branch, and they're owned by someone else. So once you click on this corporate tree icon, you're going to see the entire hierarchy of that business, so who owns who. So we'll notice here, by looking at the key, Conagra Brands is a public company. Below that, those are their subsidiaries. And then you'll see every branch that they own across the United States. So this tells you that they're a food product manufacturer, that's their primary function. There's how many people they employ nationwide, and then what they're making sales revenue across the board. All the branch information is going to be location-based info, so how many people they employ and what they make in sales at that site. We'll click on any of these records, and this will take you to their detailed profile. So this will show you everything that we know about that business. The most simplistic information is also going to be the most valuable. It's just their address, phone number, website. Recently we inputted social media feeds. You'll see their Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn populate. Reference USA is used by job seekers. We've got a separate jobs module powered by Indeed.com. So within the section, this shows you all the jobs that are hiring at that location. So these are the corporate site jobs. If you are going to use it to find jobs, go through the jobs module, see who's hiring. There's linkage back to the business profile, so you can do research before going to an interview. The industry profile, so this is their standard industrial classification, their SIC codes, makes, North American Industrial Classification System. These codes will classify a business into an industry. So when they file for their Secretary of State license, they're also applying for an industry. So this tells us that their primary function is a food product manufacturer, and then below that are some secondary functions that they serve. You don't have to be an expert on SIC codes. I actually had to learn that. I went through my training course, I memorized all of them, and then I found out I didn't need to know any of them. So yeah, I took all the time to memorize the codes, and then quickly found out there's a keyword search, and you don't need to know the codes. So that's all right. Business profile is just a small blurb on the company, who they are, what they do, why they're important. Usually we just pull this straight from the company website. Google Maps is fully integrated with Reference USA. A lot of people don't know this, but we actually power Google Maps address points. So if you've ever used Google Maps to get you from point A to point B, you're actually using our addresses to get you there. We also power 90% of the in-car navigation systems like TomTom, Garmin, OnStar. And then if we, so let's say we went to Google, type in the name of the business. So that information you always see on the right-hand side, that we provide to Google as well. We do that for Yahoo, AOL, MSN, and Bing. Except for the reviews, so if you get any bad ones, I can't really do anything. The reason why I tell you this, so if you do own a business and you want to make sure your information is as accurate and up-to-date as possible in our database, you can get that information updated free of charge. Subsequently, we're going to share it with all the other online search engines. It's not like SEO, search engine optimization. You're not going to suddenly be at the top of a search result, but your information will be accurate and up-to-date on multiple search engines. So a way to do that, say you find your business record in Reference USA. At the top, there's that data feedback button. Just click that button, update all the information that you need. Our researchers will verify that it's accurate, so Sally's Donuts doesn't call in and say, Joe's Donuts across the street is closed down, take them out of the database. We'll verify the claim, make sure it's accurate. Another way to do this is to go to our sister website, expressupdate.com. This will let you legally claim your business listing free of charge, and then we'll update it on all the other search engines as well. So the demographic section is kind of the behind-the-scenes look at the business, how many people they employ, what they make in sales, hours of operation, are they public, private, government-owned, etc. So something to note, Conagra Brands, they're a large public company. Every year they legally have to disclose their sales figures in their annual reports. Private companies don't have to do that. So what you're seeing there is a self-reported figure, but if a private company doesn't disclose that info with us, we have to model it. So we've got an economic algorithm that will estimate what they're likely to make in sales. That'll come from the U.S. Department of Commerce, the economic census. They provide averages. The smart people at Info Group come up with the equation that'll estimate what they're likely to make. So if you ever get really bored, you can click any of these links and then read more about how we come up with that algorithm. Anything that's underlined, for that matter. So this, for prospecting, obviously is going to be almost the most important thing, is the management directory. These are all the key decision makers at the company, top level executives within that business. So we'll show you names, executive title, gender, and ethnicity of that executive. So when you're doing your outreach, your cold calls, your direct mail, whatever it is, you know who's going to be signing off and what title they associate with. So this company news section is the one section that Info Group employee doesn't manually have to input. It's hosted by Bing, so they've got a host of trusted news sources. If Conagra Brands' name is mentioned in any of those news sources, it automatically publishes here. And then there's a third-party link for you to read more about what's going on. My job seekers, I always tell them, check the company news section, make sure you're up to speed on what's going on at that company prior to going in for an interview. Stock data, we do have it if you need it. So New York Stock Exchange info, Google Finance link, just simply select this link and see how they're doing in the stock market. Their business expenditures are going to estimate where they're likely to spend their money. So you're looking at a business, maybe you sell a certain product or a service that associates with any of these ventures. This is great information to know if you're going to be selling to them. So I actually started using the database as a patron myself. I was a patron at Omaha Public Library, and I was looking for jobs, so I printed off a bunch of Reference USA records, went into my interviews. I was applying at business development manager positions, outside sales, and basically said, if you hire me, I'm going to target all these small private companies that have less than 10 employees but really high expenditures in what you sell. Maybe you can help them reduce their costs and become a firm supplier for them. So in theory, that was really good. I didn't get any of those jobs that I'm referencing right now. Applied at Info Group. Had no idea that they own Reference USA. Maybe nerded out a little bit too hard in the database, so they started asking me questions about the database. I was like, oh yeah, I love your expenditure reports and your charts and your graphs. So come on in for an interview. So here I am. It's a total mistake why I'm here. But I do like what I do. We do have a historical database. We've been compiling information since 1974. We started saving it on a server in 1997. There's a weird tech explanation as to why we couldn't add 97 through 2002. They finally figured out how to do it. So in time, you'll see 1997 through 2002. But for 2003 through 2017, you can see how company structure has changed over time. Our investors will use this. They'll kind of see where the company is heading. They'll do industry trajectories. So if you want to see what the open and close rate is, the stagnation rate of beauty salons in Summit, you can figure that information out through our historical database. So in terms of sales and employees in the detailed record, that's as detailed as it gets. I remember 03, They had that huge Peter Pan peanut butter listeria outbreak. That led to some other controversies, but they had to lay off a ton of employees. They lost a lot of sales. Have been stagnant over the years, started growing, and then they just moved to Chicago. So in our historical report, you'll see after all that loss of sales and employees, CEO stepped down in 2005, Bruce Rode, and then 2006, Gary Rodkin takes his place. I don't know how many people could actually use this here, but we do have uniform commercial codes, UCC filings. This will show you where a business's assets are tied up in. If you work for a bank, if you're a financial manager, this could benefit you.
So it looks like primarily the access would be, looks like more like a general phone number, and to get an email, you probably have to be able to be influential enough on the phone to say who you are and possibly get the email address, I'm guessing.
So emails are something that we collect, but they're not in Reference USA. We've got 44 million executive email addresses at Info Group. We've got like a separate CRM. It's pseudo CRM software. It's almost like a prospect management tool that we embed the emails in. So I think that's why they chose not to put the emails in there, because they didn't want to cannibalize the business.
Sure. That's not included, that's a separate cost?
It's a separate database that has an annual expense, yeah. It's called Sales Genie.
Okay.
So in the future, I think we're going to add emails on like a one-to-one basis. So like the executive directory, you see one email. Whereas Sales Genie, like you create an email and do a deployment to 500 people all at once.
So I'm also guessing you could probably, let's say you had a search, and you just want to find out what HR directors were. You could do it by industry, you could do it by location. Can you pull up just a classification of like HR directors?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to just look for all businesses in a geography with an HR director available, you can do so, or HR directors within the manufacturing industry.
Okay, good.
Yeah. You had a question?
Yeah, Joe Arbolay, I'm with Whitegard. So I have a question in that, am I able to like build myself a profile within here?
Like
about-
an actual business record?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
know,
of
so,
course.
So I mean, like Whitegard's a national company, but, its agents, we're all really independent contractors. So am I able to then, go in and build some kind of a profile for myself?
You might already have a record in Reference USA. It's worth looking up to see if you already exist. Anyone who files for a specialty license, insurance agents, doctors, lawyers, CPAs, they're considered one business.
Okay.
So like if there's an
because of the
insurance
license.
agency,
Right.
it's got 5 agents, that would be like 5 businesses. So you might be in there,
Oh, okay.
but if you're not, you can build a profile.
Okay.
Ready?
Thank you.
Okay, Rebecca.
I just want to know if this man could use the new movers module to help him get more business, like renters that might want to buy a house or things like that.
Maybe. I don't know if I would use new movers since they just moved.
Yeah.
So that means they've just moved in. What's the likelihood that they're about to move again? Very slim to none. But we do have info on like if you're in a single family household, a multifamily dwelling, age and demographics, statistically speaking, who's most likely to move. We've got some data on that. I can share that with you.
Or even like, somebody's filed for a divorce, would that be something that can,
That, I think we have. I think we sell it because there's certain information that we just don't put in there, and then that's an issue.
yeah, no, I know, I'm just thinking in terms of like the different types of, parameters I might be able to search on testing to find people who are interested in moving.
I was honestly like shocked when I first started working for Info Group, just like the sheer amount of information that we have. Like Reference USA has a ton of info, but then there's extra stuff that we just don't even put in the database. So if there's anything you can't find but you think of it, just call us. We might be able to help.
Thank you.
Well, could you show the heat map and how to find like individuals maybe within a radius of 10 miles of Summit, and would you download that to Excel spreadsheet and all that?
Yeah, that's actually a really good segue because that's when I move over to the advanced search, we'll build a list, we'll see the heat map and some of the visualizations and how to download that
And the
info.
demographics too, the consumer.
Like the lifestyles and
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that too. So just to round out the last of this record, the small competitors portfolio, so that'll show you who you're in competition with. If you want a full competitor analysis, like I would look for the industry your business associates with in the advanced search, look in the geographic area that is your sales territory. That'll give you a full listing of everyone that you're competing with. So before I move on to kind of like the list building, is there any questions on the detailed record? Okay. More often than not, people are using this advanced search, and that's how you're going to build a list of businesses who are most likely to buy your products and services. This is who you're going to want to do outreach to build your business and grow your client base. Everything on the left-hand side are all data elements that you can apply to your market. So the more things you check off, the smaller and more defined your market's going to be. Essentially, the warmer your sales leads will be. A real simple example, I once met with, local government agencies are firm proponents of ours. I met with chambers of commerce, economic development centers, small business association. They all use our resource. I met with an economic development center in Lewiston, Auburn, Maine, and they're looking to stimulate the local economy through the dairy farming industry. So as far as Reference USA was concerned, they asked me a really simple question, which was, where are all the dairy farms in New England? So like I said, you don't need to be an expert on the SIC codes. Under business type, I'm going to run a keyword search. Just type in dairy farms. Then obviously this is applicable to all other industries. So dairy farms populates, anything that's similar to it will populate too, like butter, wholesalers, creameries, homogenizers. Under geography, you can get as specific as you want to. We've got city search, state, county, zip code. You can even open up Google Maps and draw out specifically where you want to look for particular businesses. For this example, it just probably makes more sense to do state by state. All right, so I always click update count on the top right-hand side of the page. That'll show you your market size. So there's 162 dairy farms in New England. Click view results, and then that'll show you your listing. So every dairy farm in New England, names of the owners, contact info, hierarchy, branch information.
From that search, could you actually, is there a way that you could find out what the largest is from large to small? Is that possible or not? Just talking about scale of.
Yeah, there's an interesting way to do that. You can do that through the heat map.
Okay.
So I'll kind of go through that. Beauty of this is you can download or export this info. So if you use any CRM platforms like Salesforce or HubSpot, you can export this into a spreadsheet and then load it right into your CRM platform. It'll automatically parse it out by name, business name, executive name, phone number, address, all that. It'll do it for you.
Now, is that with every CRM platform? Or just, because I know Salesforce, Jimmy Joseph, for First on his mortgage, we use CRM, but some are more popular than others. I know Salesforce and the big ones, I know they're easy to marry one another when it comes to uploading information. But ours is not that sophisticated. Now, this platform, will it be able to upload any CRM platform database?
So they say, they tell me it's universally compatible.
Okay.
If it's not, let me know, so I don't keep saying it.
Okay. Yeah, because some companies, there's so many CRM platforms. I know they've recognized the ones, the big boys. They use the plush CRM thing, but a small company like mine, we just keep the lights on, so sometimes our CRM is not as
Savvy
as others, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, we parse out the CSV spreadsheet in a way that should be applicable anywhere.
Okay.
So I think so, but test it out. So check mark the records you want. I'm going to click download. choose the file format you want, the level of detail you want to see, and then you can download or email it to yourself. And then when it asks you if you trust Reference USA, of course you do, say yes. Great, so this is what the spreadsheet's going to look like. All the info that you saw in the detailed record will now be condensed into this spreadsheet. I did a detailed record download. You can choose the data elements that you want in your file. So this file is going to be a little bit overwhelming. It's also compatible with mail merge, so you can load that right into mail merge, make a postcard, a letter, a flyer, make labels if you're just going to send out, you know, some sort of mailer. So to answer your question, like, can we rank them in terms
Yeah.
of sales revenue? I feel like there should be an easier way to do this, but the only way that I know how right now is through the heat map. So there's some market research components. They're usually done through the visualizations like heat map, charts, summary. But we click this heat map. And then this gives us a saturation report as to where those dairy farms are most densely located. A 1-800 line, honestly, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing. I get to know how the patrons are using the database. I can continually enhance it to make it better. It's a curse because I end up working on projects and then I forget what I'm doing. But I do like talking to the business owners to figure out what they're doing. So I helped there was a pet store that had called in. Business was well for them, so they wanted to expand. They were located in Connecticut. So what we ended up doing for them was we did a heat map of all the pet stores in Connecticut, went to the consumer module, did a heat map of all the pet owners in Connecticut, and then we looked at both of them. We were able to identify where there's a lot of pet owners but no pet stores anywhere in sight. So that ended up being areas where he could open up his new shop. I'm not an economist by any means, like I barely scraped through college, but so I hope he's doing well. I was giving him suggestions where he should open a new store. All right, now I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
I've zoomed in, and then on the left-hand side, we'll rank each of those dairy farms in terms of sales revenue, who's most successful.
Where'd that come from? What was the step before that?
So we built the list, we clicked heat map,
Okay.
and then I zoomed in just a little bit so they start to pinpoint.
So it naturally aggregates that way then on that side.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Yeah, zoom in a little bit more, click any of these pinpoints to see a brief snapshot about who each of these are. So if you are planning on opening a location, you know, it's good to know who your neighbors are, who your competitors will be, and then what the makeup of those businesses are. You know, are there anchor stores nearby, like that kind of thing.
So you also said is the individual pet owner that data, that's in this system as well? Like,
It's in a different module, but yeah, we do, that's the consumer side.
and it's in the consumer lifestyle side? Is that, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
You're going to show the consumer lifestyle part, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably creep everyone out. I think that covers most of the business database, actually. Before I do move on to consumers, is there anything else that you want to know about U.S. business, maybe applicable to use to your business? Okay.
The square footage is there somewhere? Like the
We do,
facilities?
yeah, we do have a square footage.
Big field in Excel there.
So you do the advanced search, and then the square footage is one of those selectable options. So you can
Okay.
search by businesses of a certain square footage if you want. Yeah, we have I've helped cleaning companies who are targeting businesses of a certain physical size.
Yeah.
All right, so U.S. Consumers and Lifestyles is an analytical look into individual consumers' purchasing behaviors, lifestyle interests, and hobbies. We collect our information through credit card processors, open lines of credit, magazine subscriptions, internet purchases. So like if you go to the Home Depot and you swipe your credit card there through the credit card processor, we'll have no idea what you bought, but we'll know you spent $1,000 at a home improvement store, at a do-it-yourself store, a gardening store. So based on your household income, our economists have an algorithm that estimates what your likelihood of buying products and services related to that industry is. So they'll rank each consumer on a scale of 0 to 9, and then if you fall within that 6 to 9 category, that means you have high inclination of purchasing those types of services. Ergo, you own a hardware store, you want to advertise to that person. So you do a direct mail campaign to your vertical market, meaning people who are already buying your products, services most often. If you do a direct mail campaign through this module, the most important thing is to make sure you select one contact per household. So instead of sending 4 or 5 mailers to the same home, you just send one. You'll save a lot of money. And then these lifestyle interests are all the buying behaviors that we're tracking. So you do have to stay within the realm of what's provided here, but you can expand these. So let's say you owned a nonprofit or you worked for a nonprofit. You wanted to do some fundraising. One of the lifestyle or purchasing behaviors is a charitable donor. So check this lifestyle, and this is applicable to any other one. Choose your geography. State we're looking right here in Summit. So there's 1,825 households within Summit, New Jersey that are already donating to charities and nonprofits. And then you can also overlay that with, say, home income. Say you want to find donors who make more than TJ at Reference USA here. I really want to increase that. So households that are making over $200,000 a year in annual household income who also have a high propensity of donating to charities and nonprofits, we've got a list of 1,003 households. And then we'll give you a list of names, addresses, and phone numbers. Same thing, export it into the spreadsheet, and then reach out for a solicitation for donation.
Are these phone numbers like scrubbed for do not call us?
We can't actually do that since you have to have a subscription account number, SAN number, in order to make telemarketing calls. We can't scrub it for the public. So we put the little disclaimer up there that says, some of the numbers might be on the do not call list. If you do have a SAN number, we can do that for you, though.
It also showed under that before, if you go back, it had email addresses. Are there actual?
Oh.
It said email count 136.
Yeah, we advertise that basically just to hook you into calling us, and then we'll
Okay.
sell it to you.
Got it.
Yeah. So I'm happy to take your money if.
I got it.
Yeah. Does anyone know Ann Murray? All right, so we're going to creep on Ann.
Just on the block for me.
Wow.
So she's been a longtime resident of Summit, been in the house for 57 years.
Oh,
There she is on the map. We've got census information as well as geocentric, like household income and home value. So those two will differentiate just based on what information we were able to collect versus the self-reported census info. And then this is a slimmer profile. This will show you what she's interested in, what she's buying, what she likes to do.
Amazing.
Creepy.
Yeah, she's not going to look at myself. Tell the world.
Yeah, so that one's a little more full, but.
So
Yeah,
then
so-
the back end of that, you could just put in any, forget we're in that, you could put a person's name or our name in there, and we'll see whatever exists.
Sure, yeah, that was the first thing I did when I started. I searched up my name.
Can you actually then go to that, and then when you talk about like a company update, can you actually update what's in that data that way, or not, because it's pulled from?
You mean like, do we merge our consumer and business database? Like,
Well, meaning like if I went in there and looked and it said whatever it said, and I'm like, well, I don't do that, but I do this, you can't really change it, because that data is based upon purchasing assets,
Outsourced.
probably.
there is the data feedback option.
Okay.
I think they primarily use that for like contact info, your phone, your
Yeah,
address,
the
are you
other stuff they
married?
probably wouldn't, okay.
But you might be able to.
So the stuff that says she's into hiking and camping or whatever, is that coming from the fact that she goes to a, makes a purchase at or has a credit card at a, outdoor sporting goods store?
Yeah, that could be one reason. There could be any number of reasons. Made an online purchase for, a tent. Has a rewards card at Cabela's.
Right.
Yeah.
So just one question, if I go to referenceusa.com from my home, and if I do the research, am I able to see all these kind of information, or, do I need to purchase a separate module?
You can see all this, so the state of New Jersey pays for this, so every resident in the state has access to Reference USA and all the information that we have in the database. So just make sure you go to the library website first, find where they host the link to Reference USA, you click that, and then you'll be in here. So everything I've been showing you, you have access to free of charge.
Okay.
Yeah, no cost.
Additional question, so you said that, to get the information about the email addresses, do I need to go to Sales Genie and use it?
There's 3 different ways we serve emails. Number 1 is just a simple list acquisition. We give you the spreadsheet of information like you saw there. So we just sell you the data. Then you can load it into whatever email platform you use and start doing email campaigns. The second option is to work with our marketing consultants to deploy the emails from an info group server. So you're in charge of the message, we deploy the email, you see click-through rates, open rates, all that kind of stuff. And then that third option is Sales Genie. So that's more of a commitment. It's like an annual subscription-based platform. So the easier ways to do it, so if you already have Constant Contact, MailChimp, something like that, it's just to get the list and do it yourself. But if you're committed to like a resource for prospecting and outreach, then Sales Genie might be helpful. All right, so if there is anyone in here that's creeped out, you can get your information taken out. All you have to do is call in and ask, email us and ask. So the information is there because it's publicly available. We can get our hands on it. But if you don't like being in there, you can get removed. Also, so all these consumer snapshot data elements, demographics, age, is there a veteran in the home, political party, religion. We do track all those, but you're not going to be able to see names, addresses, and phone numbers if you select any of those data elements. So we would consider those demographics to be sensitive data. So we'll show you statistics, charts, graphs, matrices, but we won't show you actual people's names. So like, we don't want Joe Schmo getting a library card. Joe Schmo's my bad guy. Looking for single females and kids in home. Yeah. So, but we do want you to use it for marketing. Any questions on the consumer module? Okay. So like I said, we won't have time, nor will you want to hear me talk about every single module, so I'll kind of give you a brief overview of some of these. And then if there's any that you do want me to dive into, just let me know. U.S. new movers and homeowners. We collect info from USPS, from Post Office. So you fill out that form that says, I moved from here to here. We'll know you just moved. You get new heating, electricity, trash, whatever. We'll know you just moved. So if you ever want to run a welcome campaign, welcome to the community, come on into the business, come on in for 20% discount, whatever. Use that module. That one I actually might go into, but
How often is that updated?
weekly. Yeah, every week we have new homeowners coming in there. Business database is updated weekly, consumer and lifestyle is updated monthly.
Businesses weekly?
Business is weekly, yeah.
And the new movers, that's what they register with the USPS for change of address?
That's one way. We also get rerouting of mail through other sources. The utility connects as well, so you get new electricity.
So they're relatively up to date from the actual move date?
Yeah. Yeah, it should be pretty instantaneous.
Need electricity?
Right. I will dive into this one. I'll circle back to it. Healthcare, doctors, dentists, physicians, surgeons. We've got all our information through the American Medical Association. Oh yeah, please.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
So if you got to find doctors of a certain medical practice, you want to find allergy, immunologist, doctor, immunologist, cardiologist, whatever, you can find them, find out whether they accept Medicare, Medicaid, how many patients they see per week, are they board certified. So there's a lot of specialty doctor info in there. Jobs and internships, it's just Indeed.com. Just run a quick search on what kind of job you're looking for and where you want to work. We'll show you the Indeed postings and then the separate business profiles as well. So historical, I was saying, like, you can do a lot of market research with that. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to open up a certain business, you want to open a beauty salon, you can see what the success rate of beauty salons are in that area. So over the course of time, what's been the stagnation rate of beauty salons? What's the open and close rate? See charts and graphs of that happening in real time. There's like this cursed restaurant location in Omaha. I feel like every place has it. I looked that address up in the historical database. So every 3 years, a restaurant will open, it'll close, and then a new restaurant takes its place. And then that'll close, and a new restaurant takes its place. The owners of that business probably would have benefited from going into this historical module and seeing the failure of all the restaurants that open there. Probably not a good location for a restaurant. So the other ones, we do have Canadian information, businesses and consumers in Canada. New business, like I said, it's just businesses that have opened up in the past 2 years. But those businesses will still be in U.S. business. And then there's white pages. So if you're just casually looking up an old friend, colleague, reverse phone lookup, you can use that. There's actually 140 million more consumers or people in the consumer lifestyle module, so I always just start there.
Do you have any other state licensed professionals on under any of those lists, like CPAs?
Just in U.S. business.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one of the industries you can search by. CPAs, doctors, lawyers, insurance agents. So I will dive into new movers. I think this one is valuable. Other than choosing, your geography. Most important thing is going to be the time frame in which they moved in. So you want to find everyone who's moved into Summit in the past 3 months. So right off the bat, there's 389 people who've moved into Summit in the past 3 months. What might be more important is the move distance. So if you're going to run a welcome campaign and say, welcome to Summit, make sure they didn't just move across the street. So let's say we want to find everyone who moved into Summit from at least 10 miles away. And I always just put a really large number to 5,000. So that knocks it down to 87. So instead of spending a bunch of money from the community to people who already live in Summit, you can get highly targeted and make sure that they are out-of-city residents. So, names, addresses, phone numbers, we barely have any in the new mover. Just not enough time to collect it. So we primarily use this for direct mail.
Could you set that up where you would, like, every week it would just prompt, like, let's say you wanted to set up with that demographic, and you just wanted every week to get the list of who moved in without going back in there, could you actually have it come to you, that list of people?
Yeah, so you could create that personal account,
Okay,
draw your search parameters, save
Okay.
that search. Every time you open that search, it's gonna refresh.
cool.
So like, if you just said all people that moved in 1 week ago, and then you log in.
Kind of like a
a week
Google
later.
Alerts, like if you set up a Google Alerts where you're looking for keywords and, like, well, in Google's case, it'll come into your email each week. So this you're saying actually, once you set it up, you just kind of click on it, it'll populate the guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can that be emailed to you? Can you get like a weekly email of like who the people that moved to your car?
No, you can, I mean, you can click the button and make it email yourself, but nothing's automated.
Right.
So honestly, that's Reference USA in a really large nutshell. I'm happy to talk a little bit more about any of the other stuff if you have questions, but I think, I don't expect you guys to retain everything that I talked about. So if you do have questions, Rebecca's great, you can call us directly. But anything I can answer right now, I haven't.
I have one, this is an odd vibe, but I do a lot of speaking around the country, for like keynotes for different companies. So I've just started, and this is great because this will actually help me access some decision makers. But is there in this world, would you actually find out companies or the people that purchase speakers, like speaker services? Like if you're going keynotes, does that live in that world at all, if you did a search of that? It's more of a service purchase than a product purchase.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You might have to use your own industry knowledge to identify the businesses who are most likely to purchase or, work with like a keynote speaker, a public speaker.
Yeah.
So like in the business database, you're gonna have to make some assumptions. Who's most likely to do that.
Yeah, that's why I know that HR directors typically, like you talked about corporate wellness or speaking, that's typically the place to go. But I've still been looking around, and I'll still talk to Rebecca about it as well, but I've still been trying to find, like, is there a world out there that you can find out who's buying that? And it's,
The closest thing I know is the business expenditures. That'll show you where they're spending their money.
okay,
I don't think that's one of the selectable options,
probably not.
but
Okay,
worth looking at.
thanks.
Is there a way to look up, like utility expenses, like electricity, gas?
That is, one of the expense models in there.
In
So
the
you-
business, in the
in-
businesses?
Mhm.
And what about in personal?
Consumer?
Consumer, I guess it doesn't go down to that level of detail.
No.
Consumer.
No, the closest it gets is just basic household income and home value.
I didn't see it on our list for the businesses, on the check boxes. I didn't see like utility information there.
For business?
Yeah.
It's under the business expenditures. That's one of the selectable criteria is utilities, I think. So like in new movers, you can get a little bit more, drill a little bit further down on residential details like, or, mortgage information, when they signed the deed, financing type of their loan, what kind of loan did they apply for, how much was that loan for, when did they purchase it?
People can find out anything they want to know about you.
Yep.
So it's like pretty much just like raw data, just being able to search raw data, either businesses or lifestyle patterns and habits. And we access this through the Summit Library website.
Yeah.
And then we use our card information like how it would for like lynda.com?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
You got it. I brought some flyers. It's just kind of a brief overview of what's offered on the business side. On the other side, brief overview of what's offered on the consumer side. So if you need a refresher, those are there. Also, don't forget about the Learning Center. So our webinars, our training guides, our archived videos, it should kind of teach you how to do specific tasks. So if you want to accomplish like, a very specific mission, those will show you how to do that.
Okay, and the librarians here are also available to show you or to do some research for you even and email it to you. Yeah.
TJ, so you go throughout the country visiting libraries, or do you visit chambers of commerces doing this stuff? But
Primarily, I'm a library account manager, so like I manage all accounts that purchase Reference USA in New England, plus actually in New York, and DC as well, and Iowa. I've got 12 states that I manage. So I see all those libraries. I do seminars like this. I sell the database. But I also meet with chambers, centers, economic development centers.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just curious, if we didn't have this for free and we wanted to purchase it, what would it be?
It depends on your level of access.
Okay.
Like, there's many different subscriptions you can apply for. Like, you can only get, if you wanted to just like keep your costs as low as possible, the buy-in is $1,000. And that just gets you U.S. business and then 5,000 annual exports. And then like a single user. So it's priced out based on how many users you have, how many modules you have, how much info you're exporting.
So this is worth a lot.
So this is worth a lot to live in New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
New
So you
York
guys
has
get
it
it.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
For free. So
But I mean, this is the first I've ever heard this existed. How long has this been available to us?
for 13 years or so.
Yeah, so it's really interesting that not that many people know about it.
Well, a lot of people know because we get used a lot in New Jersey. It's very popular here, but it's hard to know about it
Right.
unless you're asking for
Yeah.
something similar.
Wow.
I need business leads.
I've been active in the business community in this town for 20 years. I've never heard of this, so this is like,
Oh.
it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, and I
We've
consider
had
myself.
programs before on it, but, that's why we keep having more and more.
Right,
More people.
well, I don't remember when maybe it's just recently, because you sent me an email. If you hadn't sent me an email, I wouldn't know anything about it.
Oh.
I saw it on Facebook.
Huh?
I saw this on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
That's how I found out.
The thing is, if you're not in it, you can't know about it, so.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, and it's like, you're just lucky if you're in the right chain.
Right. Yep, you gotta be in the right network.
And you get so many other stuff that's just junk, so it's very hard to know what to sign up for and what not to sign up.
Good call.
Yeah. I've got a lot of
We have,
emails.
all our resources are for free,
Yeah.
whether they're provided by the state library or we buy them ourselves,
Right.
purchase them ourselves. So just take a look at all our databases on our website
Yeah.
and if you need any help with them or you want us to research something for you on them and then
Right.
email it to you, send it, we'll do that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I tell a lot of business associates, I think one of the most underutilized places is an incredible, valuable resource is the library. And for some reason, I think a lot of us, I know myself, I'm more of a voracious learner as I've been older. When I was younger, it's like, I don't want to go to the library. Because every time I went to the library, I had overdue fines. So I never go there. I love it now because all my stuff is in email, so I'm not overdue. But I tell business people all the time, like, I can go to Rebecca, and it's like, I got something I'm working on, and sometimes she can answer it, sometimes she can't. But it's like literally having this powerful resource that's sitting right under our noses, and people aren't realizing.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the,
It's great. And then you live in the whole library world, so you see it all the time, I guess.
Yeah. If you're wondering what other resources the state provides, just go to jerseyclicks.org.
But you don't have to go to Jersey Clicks because they're all going to be on our site.
Oh.
Yeah. So just
Cool.
go to
Yeah.
our site and click on databases and you'll see.
It's all there?
It's all there, yeah.
I didn't know that, so thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All on the Summit
Is
Library
this your number here?
site too. That's our, general, that goes right to the Reference USA department.
And I just so many shows too on this. I could search all the states on this one. It's not just whoever has, it's all public information.
Yeah, all states, anywhere in the United States and Canada, it doesn't matter where.
That's awesome.
Great.
who knew?
I'm happy.
Do you have any like construction permits or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Social worker.
I don't think we do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.